All right, is there any public comment at this time? Please state your name, sir.
Hi, I'm Ken Weckman. I work for a group, Situs Development Group. We are the group that has the purchase option on the Celotex site. We're in town, I just wanted to introduce ourselves. We have, Situs is basically the track record is we work with impaired sites and do solar development on those sites. So we're used to working with non-optimal site conditions. We've looked at the Celotex site. We're in just about the tail end of our due diligence on the site. And so our first steps, we're going to take a look at all of the information that the DEP had put in, because it is a registered brownfield, both federally and statewide. And wanted to take a look at everything that had been put into place, all the previous development efforts, and also to do some soil testing. Wanted to go in and confirm PADEP's findings when they close up the site, as well as any of the surface conditions that are there. There's quite a bit of soil there now. And what we found is everything in the ground is pretty consistent with what we had. It's got a ton of arsenic contamination. That's the primary heavy pollutant that's in there. As far as the soil that's on, probably about 2/3 of it fits within the clean fill regimen, and about 1/3 of that fits within the polluted section. With that, we spoke to the PADEP and wanted just to get their feel of what they felt about the site. And this site has a ton of site restrictions and covenants associated with it. There's an Act 2 that was filed with the state that basically says nothing residential can go up there. And as far as anything commercial, there's a ton of limitations there. Those limitations are really all about, firstly, we don't want anything where it's got a ton of human contact. We've dealt with a lot of arsenic-laced sites all through the Northeast. Any old apple orchard you find has tons and tons of arsenic in it, just because it was pesticide in the past. In this case, there are covenants put into place that basically has limited human contact in there. Furthermore, nothing come off the site, so anything that's on the site has to stay on the site. They don't want any heavy excavations going on, so that precludes many things that have a foundation or footing of any kind. Because again, you're going to dig up soil, and apparently the further, if you look at the DEP records, the further you go down, the worse the soil gets, just because of the way the remediation was done. So we've very, very limited excavations there. And lastly, there is a ton of subsurface structures in there. Old pipes, stormwater runoffs, tanks that were just closed over. And apparently there's a lot of foundation, basements and all sorts of other structures that were just closed up in there as well. So they've called into account, they don't know how much weight different parts of the surface can handle. And there also is a third last condition there with stormwater, that they're very concerned with the stormwater situations. It's probably an artifact of all of the concrete and the asphalt that was just left there in the past, and there's nowhere for it to go. So to that end, as we spoke about putting solar on there, their comments are one of the other things you can do with the site, given all the other all the other issues that are out there. They also have situations where they want to go cave in all of the subsurface structures that are there. Don't take anything out, and then start taking clean fill, or the soil that's on the site that fits in, and particularly the polluted pieces, and put that in and start compacting it down till it can handle a reasonable amount of weight. We're looking for us, if we did something there, to go break up all of the asphalt and the concrete, and take whatever soil's left on the site, sort of peanut butter it across the entire site, then bring clean fill and put grass on top of it. And lastly, while we're doing that, remediate all the stormwater issues. And their feeling is if you do that, the site can be useful. And apparently, what we were given guidance on, and we subsequently confirmed it, that's all in conformance with the Pennsylvania State and DEP brownfield remediation and reuse guidelines that are out there. So it's not uncommon with what we've had to go deal with before. And that also you have to maintain the fencing just to limit the human interaction that's on there. And they would also look for us to go put on some sort of shielding berms, trees, something to start shielding the whole site from the street. So just wanted to give you an idea. We're going to have all of this on a drive. We're going to make it all available to the town. Everything that we have, just so you guys can get your arms around it as well. But, you know, this is, in the past, we've usually taken a very, very collaborative approach with towns. Just normally, as we go in, we clean up things that are eyesores to them anyway. We're planning, right now, the initial constructors, when we spoke to the county about the purchase option, they had expressed an interest in the power as well. And we're going to work with the scheme. You know, we have, when we sell power, we have to conform with the Pennsylvania Board of Public Utilities. They have guidelines of how we can sell the power to either the grid or individuals or counties. And so there's an idea called virtual net metering. And what we would do then is we would basically, once we buy the land, we sell it back to the county for $1. And then we'd lease the land back from them because we have to have the service as well as the land has to be in the same ownership to make this work. Ownership of the actual solar equipment could be a third party. And what we would plan to do is to sell that power to them at a 20+% discount for today, and then freeze it at that price for the next 30 years. One of the things we're all facing here is that PJM, who's above DPL, is looking at a huge power gap. A lot of the issues coming down from all the AI data centers going up, and crypto, EVs, as well as normal growth, has caused this huge gap in power between what they have today, and they have to build these investment really to build new facilities. So what we're looking at is some significant power inflation. One of the things you probably see on your bill in the near term is on your delivery side, it's going to go up 50%. The capacity side is just across the board raise. They're projecting about 5% year-on-year compound inflation in power pricing, which is a huge number if you go out that period of time. So our approach in freezing that cost basically gives the county a hedge against that power increase. So we just freeze it out and it puts them in a stable position. I don't know if there's any interest in the town of acquiring any of that power, but we'd be open to it. It's a little early for us. The county brought it up as we bought it, but normally we don't even get into that type of stuff. Those types of situations, if the town is interested in any type of long-term power hedge like that, we'd be open to sharing that with them. But it's an opportunity where we can go, really, it works out financially for the investors in this long term, and it also works out for the municipal off-takers. That's normally what we've done. We've done this all through the Northeast. We just did a regional high school in New Jersey that was halfway between Atlantic City and Philly, fairly rural area and farming area. And this one school, we basically had to save them almost $300,000 a year the first year. And, you know, same thing, froze the power and created a nice surplus in their budget by doing it. So our approach in doing this is that, you know, even though it's solar and it's only creating power during the day, in essence, it's virtual net metering that lets us use the grid as a bank. And so it is, you know, a really good power savings opportunity across the board. And, you know, our last point is that, you know, we're looking forward to doing business here, being a part of the community for the next 30+ years. I just wanted to get out there, introduce ourselves, and start a dialogue. If you have any questions or anything else associated with it, you know, we're happy to talk about anything we're doing, and, you know, talk about projects we've done elsewhere. You know, we've done everything from stuff in Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, this is our first Pennsylvania project. Pennsylvania for a while was not the friendliest as far as doing this type of work. It's really opened up in the last year or two to make it more reasonable.
We had better rates.
What?
We had good rates back in the day.
You did?
Until all stupidity started.
Yes, you absolutely did have better rates, and that's one of the things that did.
True.
No, he's spot on. When it was all coal, when everything was running off of coal, it was actually,
And nuclear.
you couldn't touch
And
it.
nuclear.
Well, you know what the nuclear's going today?
Oh, yeah, it's going AI.
Yeah, and that's a point that we're trying to get across. When you have companies like Microsoft buying whole reactors just to go feed the AI side, you can imagine what that's doing to the rest of the power pool for individuals, homes, and smaller businesses. And when there's not enough power, the price has only one way to go, supply and demand.
That's what they're opening TI for.
Beg pardon?
That's why they're opening 3 Mile Island.
Yeah.
Because they don't, Microsoft doesn't believe there's gonna be sufficient power for at an acceptable price.
Although the PADEP was a little skeptical when we asked them about it.
I would like to see your information on the environmental stuff up there.
Oh, that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
We'll basically have a drive, a Google Drive we'll make available, and whoever you'd like us to permission into it,
I'd like
we're
to
more than happy to go share everything in there. It's a little bit of War and Peace. The first environmental report's 1,800 pages by itself.
That's fine.
It's a little,
So you're saying some good reading material.
if you want to go see.
That's why you got Control F. Control F. Just do a search.
Do you know who you talked to at DEP by chance?
I don't have, frankly, I don't remember the names.
But that would be on your drive, correct?
What?
That would be on the drive, correct?
Yeah.
With all the DEP stuff?
All the DEP stuff. If you just leave me your contact information, I'm more than happy to share that with you. The Environmental Engineering Group, ARM, they're based at Harrisburg. They introduced us to the DEP. They facilitated the first call. We were very lucky in that there were 2 individuals on the call who had been on that site since 2010 and working with it, so they were intimately familiar with all of the materials there. So, everything that we do there, we'll make available. It's really something that everybody should know.
No, it's important to me because my people are on that site.
Yeah.
So I want to see what's going on with the environmental stuff you're talking about.
I mean, it is, basically, I don't think they anticipated, we've been on the site, I've seen your trucks there all over the place. I don't know how well it was communicated, the covenants that were put into place, or the limitations. I can't speak to that. All I can do is say, here's what we have.
Yeah, that's why I want to see your.
Yeah. Typically, that one site, that site we did in Cumberland County in New Jersey, was an old apple orchard. It was heavily arsenic laced. And it was one of those things. Now, New Jersey wouldn't consider it a brownfield because it was still being farmed with soybeans. But when we had to remediate on that site, we had a setback, and we had to remediate from the setback to the road, and they wanted us to pull out all the arsenic. We went down 3 feet before we got clean soil. And so, that was across 20 acres of frontage. So it was a lot of soil. But that gives you an idea. Arsenic doesn't go down a whole lot deeper than that. It tends to stay on the top, but it's got a very long half-life.
Can I just have one quick question for you? So how long have you guys been working with the county at this point to get this deal going?
Yeah, this is probably 6 months.
Okay.
Okay, the purchase option was signed, I'm guessing right now, 2 to 3 months ago.
Okay.
And that's when we started we call it the first stage of due diligence of critical issues.
Yeah.
And we basically start digging through, particularly when we know it's an impaired site.
Doing all your homework, making
All
sure.
our homework, just to make sure it's feasible to do it. And everything from that, talking to PP&L, saying, is it feasible to interconnect? Many times, if they haven't invested heavily in the infrastructure in the area, it simply isn't feasible without an investment of, what's the name of your company? Situs Development. Yeah, if you leave me information, I'll be happy to share all the contact information.
Ken, do you have a card by chance?
I don't have a card with me.
Okay.
But I'm
I'll
happy
give you
to
a card after.
Okay, and I'll send you an email,
to
and
DEP.
you tell me how you want to go see it, and we'd rather just share everything with you.
All right.
And that's it. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ken, appreciate it.